Good evening. Hello. Just give it a moment as people join us. And for those of you who are logged on and waiting for us at 8 o'clock, I'm very sorry that we're running late. My health is a lot better than it was at the start of the year, but it still catches me out from time to time. I know I hope you get this on a catch-up. It's been an exciting weekend in our house. Not because anything particularly unusual has happened in our house, but because, well, last night, any of our neighbors, if they'd looked out the window, would have seen us out in the field behind the house in our pajamas at a ridiculous time of night, all staring up at the sky with great excitement because a certain young person was all excited about the fact that there was a blue micromoon. Either one of those things happens quite regularly. There's going to be another blue moon in 2028, and there's a micromoon again next month. But the reality is that a blue micromoon is a pretty rare thing. And to be honest, it would have completely passed us by if it wasn't for the fact that there was an excited child in the house. It was something that he'd read about during the day, and he discovered there was one that night, and so we simply had to see it. And because there'd been cloud where we are earlier on in the evening, despite all the wonderful warm weather we've been having, we had to wait until there wasn't any cloud. And so at an hour which is well past any sane person's bedtime, the three of us would have been found out in the paddock complaining about the midges and staring up at the blue micromoon. To be honest, some of the excitement actually was the conversation that we had when we talked about how old we would all be when the next one occurs, which is 2053. I'm not going to tell you how old we would be, but needless to say, everybody in the little group of us who was staring up at the sky will be well past what traditionally is referred to as middle age. And so there it was, and we watched it for a few minutes, and then the clouds started to gather again, and it all got a bit cold, and we headed back into bed. It got me thinking about the fact that I wouldn't have paid any attention to it if it hadn't been for the fact that there was an excited child in the house. That this thing that probably would only happen one more time in my lifetime would just simply pass me by, and I wouldn't have felt particularly like I'd missed out. I wouldn't have felt like I'd lost anything because, well, you know, one moon, it's another moon. I sort of know what the phenomena is. The moon is at its furthest point in its orbit from the Earth, and it happens at the same time as a full moon. And then, of course, a blue moon is just two full moons in the same month, and that's a kind of an arbitrary thing, actually, when we draw the lines. So I can rationalize it. But it was delightful, and it was joyful, and it was a beautiful thing to share. And so, having experienced it, I'm glad that I did not miss it. It got me thinking about the things that I miss because they're not the big ticket items, the things that it's easy to overlook because they're not the things that we're focused on, the things that our minds are paying attention to. Things that pass us by, even though they're not once or twice or three times in a lifetime things. Lamentations 3, verses 22 and 23, we read this. I'm reading from the English Standard Version here. I particularly like it, the way it translates these verses. Kind of gets to the heart of the matter. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness, O God. The mercies of God never come to an end. Another way of translating that same phrase is that the goodnesses or the kindnesses of God are inexhaustible. Out of his faithfulness, No matter what God might have done for us in the past, no matter the way in which he has blessed us and benefited us, with each fresh new day, God delights to protect us. He delights to bless us. He delights to provide for us. He delights to give us those things that are necessary. Yet, if I'm honest, in the kind of evangelical culture of our time, what I see is so much about big moments, so much about things that are once in a lifetime, things which are the great crises of our lives. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely believe that God will intervene in those things, that God shows great kindness and great mercy and great faithfulness, that God is a healer and a deliverer. But the reality is that it's his constant presence, it's his constant abiding grace, it's his goodness day after day after day that sustains us and keeps us. And the things that are so fundamental to that relationship, that extraordinary place of peace and of confidence that Jesus speaks of, when he talks about not chasing the things that the world chases after, or worrying about the things that the world feels like makes us feel like we have to provide for ourselves. When we commit ourselves to seeking first his kingdom, the reality is that our Heavenly Father knows what we need, and his mercies, his goodnesses, his kindnesses towards us, they're new every morning. They're fresh with the day. They're not, well, I'll polish up yesterday's, or I'll give you something now, but you've got to eke it out. But it's a provision of life and of strength and of wisdom and of peace and of comfort and of companionship that comes from God. The Bible talks about us coming into the presence of God like little children, coming in with that extraordinary trust and expectation, knowing that he loves us, knowing that he delights to bless us, knowing that he will protect us and welcome us, knowing that he is with us, that he is always looking out for us, that he is our ever-present help, that he is our shield and our defense. And today, he is all of those things. And I know that tomorrow he will be, because of his great faithfulness, because his love is steadfast. It's not shaken by my good days and bad days, by my mood swings, by my fickle nature. It's not changing based on the way that I behave, far from it, but he loves me because of his great faithfulness, out of his heart of compassion, out of his mercy. And so last night I got to see something I wouldn't have seen if it wasn't for that excitement that came from the youngest member of our household. And I began to think, as a child in the house of God, am I failing to rejoice? I'm trying to be all grown up. I'm trying to act as though, well, of course I know that's what God does. Instead of being amazed by his kindness, daily rejoicing in his goodness, not wanting to miss a thing. You see, if his mercies, his goodnesses, his kindnesses, his blessings are new every morning, that means there were things today that God did for me. And if only I was paying attention, I would have a unique experience that belonged to today. What are you going to show me today, Jesus? What have you got for my life today? What am I going to learn about you? How am I going to grow in knowledge of you, in relationship with you? What am I going to learn about your purpose, about your eternal wisdom and kindness and goodness? God, how are you going to cause me to grow? Lord God, what wonders do you have reserved for me? What questions are you going to answer? What new things will I learn and get to see as you outwork your kingdom purpose? And so I don't know if, like us, you got to see the blue micromoon yesterday. To be honest, it looks a lot like any other moon, and it's only when you see photographs taken from the same spot at the same time between a supermoon and a micromoon that you can tell that there is a visual difference in the size that the moon appears, simply because of the distance away that it is. But I wonder how many days, God has stepped in. God has met your needs. God has protected you and preserved you. God has tried to show you wonders and things that would be a blessing to you, and you missed them because you were too busy being all grown up and sensible. Last night we could have said, well, it's a cloudy evening. We're not staying up to see whether or not the clouds part. And I'm sure that would have probably been the sensible grown-up thing to do. We were so blessed by it. It was so joyful. Tonight, I want to encourage you to trust God and celebrate like children in the house. Tonight, I want to encourage you to look to tomorrow and say, tomorrow is a day in which God has new, fresh kindnesses, goodnesses, compassions, mercies for me. There are things that he wants to do in my life, and he's been waiting the whole of eternity to share them just with me. I want to encourage you to prioritize those moments of relationship, those moments of you and God's time. And I want to encourage you to respond to what he does with a joyful delight and wonder of a child. Who knows what you might experience of God tomorrow? And the opportunity for that moment of understanding and relationship might never come again. God is faithful. God hasn't got favorites. You might be saying right now, well, I'm listening to this, but I've never had anything like that happen to me. I've never experienced anything of it. I've never even talked to God before. You don't have to wait until you've been through a process to get there. If you trust him and you seek him, his promise is that you will find him. He's already ready and waiting with amazing things of his own life and his own character and his own abundant, wonderful goodness to share with you. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is his faithfulness. That's our thoughts this evening. Lord bless you. Have a great week. God willing, we'll be back to our normal time of 8 o'clock next Sunday night. And we hope that you join us then. God bless.